Hello everyone, my name is Scorpion and I'm here for my first ever Haikyuu Fly High video. And today I'm here to speak about the team that I think I will be doing and why I think I will be using this team and why I think it is so good overall. This team is already currently being used in JP servers and from what I saw in Korean servers as well. And they're currently standing in the top 10 teams in their regions. So as you can see, this team is very good. So let's actually start speaking about the characters themselves and how the team synergizes together. And the first thing we can actually see from this team is that we can play two specialities, right? We can play the blocking speciality and we can play the receive speciality. We are able to do this because of Kuro, right? Because Kuro is the only character that has both specialities as long with Korai, but he's only here to fill the spot for Yaku to come in for the middle blocker. And yeah, so in this team we have a very strong duo, which is Kenma and Lev. They are able to provide tons of reflex and awareness for your team, as well as increase your power and power and quick spikes power. And they are also able to provide you with receive buffs and a whole lot of things, etc. And we have obviously Korai and Hiugami, which are in every single team. You need to grab these two characters. They are just too good to not be played. They're just that good. You see these guys everywhere in every region that's ahead of global, and they are just super strong overall. Because Korai is just a monster. He can receive, he can spike, he can block, he can do everything. And Hirugami is just gonna buff your team with attack technique, with defense technique. You will also reduce your blocks teammates cooldown. It's just very good overall. He's super strong and he can provide blocks by himself. Because in this team, Liev is not here to block. Even though he's decent at blocking, don't get me wrong, he's decent. But his main thing is spiking on this team. He's gonna do that with Korai. Okay, let's start speaking about the actual in-depth thing of this team, how this thing works, how the team orchestrates itself. And so basically, Yamamoto, first of all, is able to provide you with perfect receives, right? And this is a trending theme you're gonna see in this team. Because Yaku, if you go ahead and read his skill number 3, he's able, whenever he's on the court, to transform a normal receive and make the result change to perfect. And this will be on any character at any time on your back row. So if Yamamoto does a normal, bang, Yaku just makes him do a perfect receive. And it's every single character, it doesn't matter. So he's super strong. Then we have Yamamoto, which is a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult to understand, um, but people actually undervalue this character a lot. I think he's one of the most underrated characters in the game for receive. So to understand how he works, we are quickly going to look at his greed stacks, right? So how does the greedy stacks works for him? So every single time your team does not make a ball contact that is bad, so it can be normal or perfect, he will get a greedy stack. And this stack basically increases his own basic stats by 2% up to 10 stacks, right? So think with me. Oh, Yamamoto does a perfect, and then Kenma does a perfect set, and then Liev does a perfect spike. This is already 3 stacks just from those 3 actions, which is a lot, right? So this is fairly easy to stack up to 10, and this will give you basic stats. But why are we looking into this? Because these stacks play a very important role in Yamamoto's receive. And why is that? If we read carefully, his second skill says Taketora Yamamoto performs a receive with power equal to 140% of receive, which is it doesn't really look good, right? Until you read the next part. Each stack of greedy spirit increases the receive power by 30% of the receive stat, right? And just think with me. The only way to reset these stacks, right, is whenever he spikes, right? This is the only time because as you see here, whenever Taketora Yamamoto performs a power spike um, with his ultimate, all greedy stacks are consumed, and it will increase his attack technique and defense technique by 2%, right? Nothing that crazy. So yeah, this is just fine. It's strong, but this is not what I want to see with you guys. But just think with me. If you are able to stack 10 stacks, right? If you're able to make 10 bad or 10 perfect or in between them 10 perfect touches or 10 basic touches or normal touches, you will be able to get a multiplier of 300%, right? So it's 140 base plus 300%. So his skill number 2 will be a 440% multiplier. And the best thing is, because you're not using the greedy stacks, you are going to be able to keep 5 or more. And what does this do? This guarantees the receive to be perfect. So this is the first thing we see about Yamamoto. If he's able to keep the stacks, meaning he will not spike, right? He's able to perfect every single 6 net crossings, right? So he's very good. And additionally, if you make him a skill resonance 2 character, which I will be doing it, whenever your player's spike skills are perfect, Yamamoto next spike power increases by 100% of his power attack stack. This is fine, right? But then you look at this, when your player's ball contacts are perfect, additionally gain 1 stack of Gritty Spirit. So you remember when I've said, oh, Yamamoto does a perfect receive, then Kenma makes a perfect set, and then Liev makes a perfect spike. This will already give you 6 greedy stacks just because it's resonance 2. Meaning, you can basically instantly make him use his skill 2 and make a perfect receive, right? Which is very good. Of course, it has 6 net crossings cooldown, but it's a very good skill. Then we go to Yaku, and this guy is absolutely broken. He's the newest release on JP. He's very strong, and he will basically buff your team receive, right? He will provide you with receive. He will provide you with spirit, right? And he will also provide you with another condition change, which is if your whenever he's on court, if your side performs a normal receive, the result will be changed to perfect. And the thing is that this doesn't matter when it happens. There is no restriction to it. So if you get 2 receives that are normal, he will turn them into perfect whenever he wants to. There is no condition, there is no cooldown for this. It's just very good. Also, one more thing is that his ult basically becomes spammable on this team. And why is that? Since you have Yamamoto that has a receive skill, you have Korai that has a receive skill, you have Kenma that has a receive skill, whenever one of these 4 characters receive the ball, or even Kuro if you don't, for some reason, don't want to use this rotation, um, you will reset his ultimate. So right here, while Yaku is on the court, when another teammate casts a receive skill, the cooldown of the defensive core is reset, and your player's receive power increase of 120% of his receive stat, right? So it's buffs after buffs, and also whenever he can ult, he will also recover 10 stamina for all your players, right? And whenever he uses his ultimate, right, he will also provide 2000 points receive for your other receive if it is not him that receives the ball again, right? So it's a 2000 points increase, it's a 10 stamina gain. He also will give you 120% receive. He will buff you with 30% spirit if this happens in specific, and that's basically it. But it is a ton. It is he just helps receive so much. It's just so good. And I will not be speaking about the resonance skills because I haven't taken that much of a look at it, but I assume it's very good as well. But he's a very strong character overall. But since he's a newer character, I won't be speaking as much of his resonance right now. Then we go to Kenma, right? And we're gonna see a pattern again. So first of all, Kenma is basically able to increase your player's basic stats, and he's also able to give you maintain stacks, which will reset every single rally, right? And he will give you awareness and reflex by 10%, up to a maximum of 60%. And what happens here is that on skill 3, whenever your team does a bad receive, once per rally, it will consume all those maintain stacks he gets, and the receive will be changed to perfect. Meaning, you have a pattern here. Yamamoto can do a perfect receive every 6 net crossings if you don't regularly spike with him, or if you don't use his ult regularly, but you can still spike with him. If he's Resonance 2, it doesn't even matter, you can spike and it will quickly get his stacks back. Then you have Yaku, which can give you a ton of receive, and then he will also provide you with stamina, and he will also provide the normal changing into perfect every single time. And then you have Kenma, who will provide you with the bad receive turning into perfect, which is amazing. They just synergize so well with each other. And then you have Kenma with Liev, and Liev is just simply just that good because of the bond that they have. And they just synergize so well together because of their bond, which I already talked about, which is very, very strong. Speaking about Kenma skill resonance, I will skill resonance to him, but I will tell you why I will not SR for him. And if you read it carefully, when Kenma is on the court at the start of each rally, if you are leading the score, right, if you are like winning 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, whatever, your team will gain 5 stacks of maintain. So this will automatically give you 50% awareness and 50% reflex every single rally that you're winning, right? And if you're not winning, meaning if you are behind the enemy, the opponents, you will get 3 maintain stacks, which is also great, and your player's receive will increase by 20%. And for every single stack of maintain stacks that you get, your player's spirit will also increase by 2% up to 40%. You might look at this and say, this is okay, blah blah blah, this is not that good, but it helps you a lot stack the maintain stacks very faster. It helps you a lot. And then you take a look at skill resonance 4. And when Kenma is on the court, when your player set is perfect, your players with received skills have their power attack and quick attack stats increased by 40% for 2 net crossings, which is great for him, right? But then you read the next part. When Kenma Kozume receives, your back row players' receive power increases by 200% of their receive stats, lasting until your next receive. It is very good, right? But there is one main problem that I see with Kenma being SR4, is that you want him to be on the back row all the time, right? And this will basically make the rotation a little bit more awkward. And the other thing is that you will also lose value on Yamamoto. And there is another thing that is not that good. It is simply because he's playing as a solo setter. And he's your main setter. He's the one that is supposed to be setting the ball. So I think that his skill resonance for is amazing if paired, for example, with another character. And we are seeing in Japan, for example, we've seen this already in Japan. It's happening a lot. We see, for example, Kenman here, and he's also Kenman Liev, and he's also paired with our big friend Oikawa, meaning you can take full advantage of Kenma SR4, right? So this is if you want to play Oikawa and Kenma together, if you have Oikawa SR4 and if you want to SR4 Kenma, go for it. It's broken. It's very, very strong. But you will be playing a different team this way because you will be playing Korai, you'll be playing Hiragami, for example. This is like very usually seen in Japan, and then you will pair it with Kuro so you can play block speciality. Sorry. So this is another team that you guys can build, but this is not main focus of it. This was simply just to explain the resonance skills of Kenma. Then we go ahead and already think a little bit about our team's synergies. So we have a ton of players that turn bad receives or normal receives into perfect. They can guarantee the perfect receives every single time, and it's just super strong. Having these characters is just that strong. These three characters together, or these four characters together, for receive is just very, very strong. And you get good bonds, and basically you get just super, super strong every single time in the game. Now we will speak about Korai and Hirugami and what I'm going to be doing with them. And I will recommend you guys think the same and do the same if you guys can. So, Korai and Hirugami are by far the most used duo in every single version of the game. They are everywhere, and you already probably heard other YouTubers telling you to SR4 Korai because they are not they're not lying to you. He's just that valuable. Korai is amazing at SR4. With paired with Irugami, Irugami can basically make him be able to almost spam every single skill. It's ridiculous, because every single skill of Korai when he's at SR4 are treated like ultimates. If you read here, when Korai Hoshiumi uses versatile attacks, he always performs exceptionally, and all ball contacts with versatile attacks are treated as ultimates. And when Korai uses ultimate, strength and spirit increase by 40%, stacking up to 200%, right? So it's just super strong. It's just incredibly strong, right? And what and he will basically act as your main spiker. Even though he can rotate and receive and everything, he's gonna be your guy to spike. He's your main spiker. And then you will have Liev also to help you with spikes, but let me just speak about Hirugami's first. Hirugami basically will increase your block stats, his own block stats, every single turn. And he will also, if you read here, when Sashiro Hirugami is on the court at the start of each turn, if your player's block ultimate's cooldown duration is at least 8 net crossings, that player's ultimate's cooldown decreased by 4. If your player's block ultimate cooldown is duration is less than for 8 net crossings, that player's basic stats increase by 15%. What happens with this is that since the cooldowns for Korai are going to be 8 net crossings, this will be decreased by 4, simply just by having Hirugami on the court. You do not need resonance skills for him. You do not need resonance skills for him, I repeat. And you won't be really spiking with him. This is not that interesting. The other thing that is very interesting out of Hirugami is his skill 3. Whenever he's on the court, when your players touch the ball, he gains 1 stack of roll swap. Each stack increases Hirugami block stat by 5%, so you can imagine, with the receive team, how many touches will you be doing per rally? This will only increase his block over and over again. There is no limit, right? And then, at the end of each turn, whenever he consumes those roll swaps, because he will consume those stacks at the end of the rally, he will provide you with attack technique and defense technique by 4.5% according to the amount of stacks you have. So imagine you are able to stack 12 stacks, right? Or 10 stacks. You're going to be able to have 45% attack technique and defense technique. And he also reduces his own cooldown on his ult. He's just that good. He's going to be your guy to block every single thing in the court. And I will also SR for him because I think he's very valuable. You guys don't really need to do it. I won't really explain why I will do it, but he's just super, super strong. But just by reading this, you understand why I will SR4 him as well. And it's simply because they have such longevity. They can play. They will be here for a very, very long time in your team. They're just the goats. They are the goats of the game. They're just that good. And finally, we reach Lev, right? And Lev is a very interesting character as well. Because if you read his first skill, when Lev is on the court, whenever your player's contacts are perfect, so once again we see the theme perfect touches, um, your block and quick attack increase up to 21%. That you will always get this every single game. And when Liev is on the court, when your players score, that player will gain a buff called scoring ace, and it will increase their basic stats. The player that scores will have their basic stats increased by 500%, right? And this can only be on one player on the court. Meaning, for example, Korai scores, he will get the scoring ace buff. Plus 500 stacks on stacks no, sorry. Plus 500 basic stats on everything, which is amazing for him because he can provide you with everything. He can do receives everything. This doesn't matter that much, but this is why I'm saying he's decent at block because you are always able to get 300% multiplier on this. It's very good, and he will also basically be guaranteed to crit on defense every single time. Over here, it's I think this is what makes Liev also a very nice and strong character. So at the start of the match, Liev starts with the scoring ace buff. So meaning he will have the 500 basic stats on him. He will have that buff on him. Meaning in this team, the first person that usually should spike it's Lev or Liev because he already has applied the scoring ace buff on him before the game started. And whenever the player has scoring ace, the that player's next two ball contacts have their power increased by 40%. So 500%, 500 basic stats plus 40% on the next two touches. So as you can see, this buff is already very good. Then, then this is what I think it's ridiculous. Lev Haiba, whenever another person has the scoring ace buff, he will basically increase his stats by 50% of the stats of the person with the scoring ace buff, up to a maximum of basic stats of 2000, awareness, reflex, and spirit up to a maximum of 100, and attack technique and defense technique up to a maximum of 20%. Let's think a little bit. If you have Korai on the court, he he basically whenever Korai scores or whenever Liev scores or whenever Yamamoto scores, he will basically use those basic stats for him. He will steal those basic stats for him. But what happens is that just bear with me. Korai will surely have 2000 receive, he will have 2000 block, he will have I'm sorry, he will have 4000 block, he will have 4000 power spike or a quick attack, he will have 400% receive or 4000 receive, I'm sorry. Basically, you are almost guaranteed always to get basic stats. You are almost always able to get 2000 basic stats on Liev. You guys heard me right. You are basically guaranteed whenever Korai scores to get this. And also, you are able to get Korai's awareness, which will be high. His reflex will also be high because he buffs himself so much. His strength would also be high, and then the spirit will also be high. And with the Hirugami's attack technique and defensive technique buff, you will also be able to get 20%. So it's just so broken. Liev is actually he's another character that I think is undervalued. He's super strong with the good characters on his team, with the right team on his side. He's very strong, and his spike is a 200%, 260% spike, and basically, if your side's last spike was last set was perfect, the power will also increase by 40%, which will mean already a 300% multiplier. And when your side's last receive and set are both perfect, this spike will become unblockable, and it will also gain 60%, which means it is going to be an unblockable with 360% power, which is amazing. He's gonna be very good at attacking. He's your guy to make the quick spikes. And then we finally reach the final point of the dupes of the characters, and I will SR4 Liev. And there is a simple reason for it. You already know he provides basic stats to the scoring ace player, and you already know he gets basic stats from them as well. So what happens in here is that he has his basic stats increased even more by 15%. And when Liev has the scoring ace buff, meaning whenever you score a point with him, he will get a plus 15 on basic stats, which means he gets a 30% increase whenever he has the scoring ace buff, which is huge. 30%. We're talking about 30%. And also, Kenma, if you guys remember correctly, gives basic stats as well. So it's gonna be insane. He's gonna be super powerful. And at the end of each round, also, your players with scoring ace recover 5 stamina, which is very nice. He gives a little bit of stamina whenever a person scores. It's very good. On Resonance 4, I don't think this is necessary, but I will do it because I think it's strong and I have resources to do it. But I think Resonance 2 for Liev, it's goated. It's very, very good. Very, very good. So at Resonance 4, whenever your players with the scoring ace make a ball contact, each perfect ball contact by your team, this rally increases its power by 10% of the corresponding stat, up to 300% maximum. For every point your team scores, your players with scoring ace have their strength and spirit increased by 5%, up to a maximum of 50. This is a little bit of stretch saying 300% because there is no way you're going to be able to guarantee the 300% increase. There is just simply no way because you cannot make that many ball contacts in a rally. But you just have to think this will keep increasing the power of the person, of the player with the scoring ace buff. It's super strong, and whenever he uses a skill, meaning it can be a spike, it can be a block, it can be a receive, it will increase that stat even more, and he will provide you with strength and spirit as well, which is always good. Basically, Liev is a buffer, but he can actually spike very, very strongly. And I think this should wrap it up, but I will give you my final thoughts on it. So, Yamamoto can do perfects, Yaku can turn normals into perfect, Kenma can turn once per rally bad into perfect receive. So, these guys are just gonna keep the rallies going and going and going, making your Korai stronger, allowing Hiugami to stack his roll swap even easier because they will keep delaying the rallies longer and longer. Liev is gonna benefit from this because of the basic stats as well. He will spike very strongly. Korai will also spike very strongly, and also you will still have Yaku and Liev if you SR2 him to increase your stamina even more. And if you want to have Konimi SR2 on your bench, it will also provide you with more and more stamina, which means you will be lasting so long in those rallies, and your opponents will be suffering. They will be running out of stamina. They, you already see where I'm going with this. So this is my plan. This is where I'm going. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm sorry if I stuttered sometimes in the video, but English is not my main language, and sometimes I forget some kind of word or I start speaking too much. So I'm sorry if you guys got a little bit annoyed at me sometimes, but thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you guys keep playing Haikyuu Fly High and love it as much as I do. And thank you so much once again. Peace.